Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our first weekend Stories of Music. Glad to have you here. Before we get started, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to a feller named Steve Kurtzner. He is the human behind the character Ed the Sock you might have seen on TV. Steven is trying to get an online TV station started. He's actually got a fundraising going on right now on Indiegogo. It's going to be called the New Music Network, and it's going to be playing music videos. Something that Much Music used to do a long time ago before they got into other materials. So wish him well. You can certainly find New Music Network on all your socials. And if you want to donate, you can go to Indiegogo and find it there. Speaking of which, I also want to let everybody know that Retro Sound and Collectibles and the Stories of Music are now on YouTube. You can find us under our name there, find all the previous Stories of Music. As well, in the future, we're going to have product demonstrations and things like that, so you can look forward to seeing that soon. Without further ado, let's go back to the 90s for more Stories of Music. This week, we're heading to the East Coast. Now, if you remember from previous episodes, by the time Canadian music got to the 90s, it was getting popular enough that you were able to see genres really branching out on their own, and this was very much true as well on the East Coast. Artists like Natalie McMaster, the Rankin Family, and Ashley McIsaac were starting to present new interpretations of traditional music. Now, this did spread not just to the East Coast. You also had bands like Spirit of the West out of Vancouver that were using more and more East Coast influences in their music. You also had things going the other way, where you had artists from the Maritimes like Stomping Tom Connors, who was bringing that East Coast influence out west. But no band probably did a better job of bringing traditional music into Canadian rock in the 90s than Great Big Sea. Now, Great Big Sea was very busy in the 90s. They actually released 4 albums. The self-titled Great Big Sea in 1993, 1995's Up, 1997's Play, and Turn in 1999. Something you might not know, in 1998, they actually released an album called Rant and Roar. It was released just in the States, and it had one purpose, and that was to expand the band's appeal down south of the border. Going back to Up and Play, they were pretty successful on this side of the border. Play actually not only went 3 times platinum for the 20 years after it was released, it was actually the 9th best-selling album in the country by a Canadian band. Not to be outdone. Up went 4 times platinum in Canada, so that translates into over 400,000 copies sold. Now, in terms of both albums, they were a combination of a number of different types of songs, modern arrangements of traditional East Coast music. There were original songs by the 2 members of the band, Sean McCann and Alan Doyle, and they also did have a number of covers, including the song When I'm Up, I Can't Get Down, which is originally by the UK band Oyster Band. There was also The End of the World, which, of course, was a song by American band REM. Now, Great Big Sea really made their bones, as it were, as a touring band. I actually remember seeing them myself at the University of Lethbridge about the time that the album Play came out. And when they were just starting out in the early 90s, they would tour up to 300 days a year. Now, through their whole career, this continued. And in fact, their New Year's Eve show, December 31st, 1999, in St. John's, Newfoundland, set a Newfoundland record for the largest single gathering. There were over 90,000 people on the St. John's waterfront for that particular show. Now, performances for that tour actually were released as a live album the following year in 2000 called Road Rage. By about 2013, the band had actually broke up, retired basically, although Sean McCann and Alan Doyle are still making music to this day. Thanks for joining us for this week's Story of Music. We will continue with one more week at looking at the 90s next week. Hopefully you can join us then. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.